beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, hey guys, good to see you again. My name is Lauren, this is my channel, and I hope you enjoy. Today's video is going to be wrapping up our February series, so I had meant for this to go out much sooner than right now. However, we ran into a lot of technical difficulties. And we couldn't get it out before, like, now. So pretty much I lost 2 videos, and this is me refilming one of them. But one of the videos that I lost that I can't refilm is mine and Austin's February date. We're doing a series where we date each other. We go on like one intentional date per month. And we filmed February's, and we're just not going to go on another date to like just refilm it. That's kind of weird. So we know that we went on the date, we had a ton of fun, and we'll film the next one. It's no big deal. But this one is, I thought it was pretty good, and I felt like it was something that God wanted me to talk on, or to like give some advice into. This is if you're dating somebody, or even if you're planning on dating somebody and you're looking for like things to look out for, green and red flags as far as your partner goes. Meaning if you're dating somebody and you're looking through all these things and they're hitting every single green flag, they might be your person. They might be your person. But if you're going through and they're hitting none of the green flags and they're hitting several of the red flags, might be time to nix the relationship. Just saying. But either way, I hope that you get something out of this video. And I'll go ahead and preface by saying, growing up, especially watching Disney princess movies or like happily ever after movies or stuff like that, you don't get this like magical feeling when you meet your person. It's not always love at first sight. Sometimes it is for some people. I'm not going to say that it isn't, but I didn't experience that. It took me a while to figure out that Austin was my person. But I will say that he hit every one of the green flags I'm getting ready to discuss and more. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Green flags, as far as relationships go, they are right with God. Not in a way that's just like, oh, I go to church, I wear Christian t-shirts, I, like bebop to Christian music. Like, no, they genuinely are actively seeking the Lord. They are participating in a ministry. You can see the fruit of their faith in their day-to-day life. How they talk to people, how they treat people, etc., etc. All of that is very prominent and visible. It's very visible. So, number 1, they're right with God on more than just a surface level. Number 2, they meet your list. If you're a girl, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, every girl that I know has a list in her head of like requirements she wants from her future husband. Okay, and I will say my list changed from when I was like 14 to when I was 24 when I met my husband. My list changed during that time, not in a bad way, but actually in a really good way, because I got to, well, I was dating people in between those years, and I figured out what really mattered to me personally in a relationship. For instance, things on my list that were non-negotiables, like the things that I was praying for my husband to have, humility and kindness. Those were my top 2 things. Now, I did have a few other things, like I wanted him to be a little bit taller than me. I, want him to be good with cars. Certain things like that were just personal things. Sure, but at the end of the day, those things did not matter to me nearly as much as having humility and kindness. And I married the best man in the world. So, just saying, you have a list. You know that you have a list. If they're meeting your requirements, that's a good green flag. Number 3, they treat authority with respect. Now, this was an important one for me, but I think it's overall a really important one just in general, because something that my mom told me growing up was, when you date somebody, watch how they treat their mom. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, you will see how they will treat you based off of how they treat their parents. I used to think that that was a joke. No, it's true. It's entirely true. How they see authority figures, how they treat anybody with respect. One, it's a reflection on how their relationship is with God. And two, it's a reflection on how they will eventually treat you. I mean, if you're respecting authority, you're going to be willing to listen to what your wife has to say. You're going to be willing to hear her out, even if you're the authority figure in that instance. Whatever the situation is, respecting authority was a big one. Number 4, and I think it should be a big one for everybody, but that's a personal thing. Number 4, they love you without expectations. Now, what I mean by this, okay, so I'm gonna get a little biblical. We're gonna go to the Bible app. I'm gonna be in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. I'm gonna read it to you. Now, the goal of our instruction is love. That comes from a pure heart, a good conscience, and a sincere faith. When you're dating somebody and they say that they love you, if they are not in alignment with those 3 things, they don't really mean it. They just don't. So for instance, if a guy is trying to date you simply to get in your pants, he's not doing that with a pure heart. He's not saying I love you with a pure heart. He's just not. If it's sincere faith, good conscience, he can't say I love you and truly mean it with a good conscience if he has an ulterior motive. He just can't. And a pure faith, you cannot be in alignment with real love and the actual love of Christ if you have an ulterior motive of whatever kind. Doesn't matter what it is. So that's like my statement for love. Like, if they're not in alignment with those things when they say that. And it's also a gut check for me. When I say those words, I love you, when I say that phrase, am I saying it in alignment with those 3 things? Because if I'm not, it doesn't mean what it really should mean. It means I want something. Gut check. Anyways, moving on. What number are we on? Number 5. They have the same values as you. Now, whether that is Christian values or political value, whatever the case is, pretty much the idea is, yes, you need somebody to challenge you in a relationship, but you don't want somebody that you're constantly fighting with, because you don't want to come home to an argument every day. Make sure you guys have the same values and you're on the same page, even if it's only with 90% of the things. 10%, sure, you're gonna fight. That's normal, but 90% be on the same page. Now, those are my green flags. Moving on to the red flags. If you are in a relationship and you are hitting some of these red flags, my suggestion is to evaluate and see if it's worth it. See if it's worth your time. That's just honest. Now, number 1, all the things that I previously listed in the green flags, they're not hitting them. Not at all. Not like even a little bit hitting the mark. That's number 1. Number 2, you feel pressured. Whether that's you feel pressured to stay, you feel pressured to do something you're uncomfortable with doing, you feel pressured to be somebody who you're not. Like, all of those things are a giant red flag. And that's coming from somebody who's a people pleaser and who did those things for years. I could see that in people and would want to make them love me. And so I would adapt based off of that. But the truth is, then they're not seeing the real you. And you don't really feel comfortable in the relationship. And so, anyways, point being, if you feel pressured in any sort of way, it's a major red flag. Number 3, I believe, yeah, 3. You are leading them on, or they are leading you on. Typically, you know if you're leading them on. You don't always know if they are leading you on, but you can kind of have a sense that something's not completely right there. Now, if you are leading them on, you know it. You know it 100%, and you just need to nix it. Because if you don't, or if you're going into a relationship leading them on, you're just going to cause more hurt for them and for you in the end. Number 4, there is no peace. And what I mean by that is there is something inside of you telling you this isn't right. This isn't it. And you may not know what it is. Like when I've been in a couple of relationships where that was just the case. I didn't have an answer at the time. I just knew that it wasn't right. And so I ended the relationship and later figured out why. And it was like, oh, well then that makes sense. Point being, if you are in a relationship and you can actively feel that there is something wrong, then leave. Leave. There's no peace in that. There's no peace for you. There's no peace for him. Just leave. Number 5, they are knowingly hurting you. Whether physically, mentally, emotionally, they knowingly hurt you. And there's a big difference between, I'm gonna give a silly example. Like if I stepped on Austin's toes, typically that man wears boots, so it's not gonna hurt him anyways. But if I do step on his toes, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And he's like, no, I didn't even feel it, you're good, like no big deal. That's a completely different reaction than if I look at him and stomp at his toes. Then I'm doing that with malice. Then I'm doing that with wanting to hurt him. And you can know, when somebody's intentionally hurting you. There's a big difference. Please call the authorities and get out of that situation. You are worth more. Those are all that I have as far as green and red flags. If you're in a relationship and they hit, some of these, whether green or red, I think you can kind of determine your answer from there. If you like this video, however, please like and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.